Hello everyone, welcome to Friends and Neighbors. I am your host today, Sandra Onal, and we are here with Ginger Sanders.
Yes.
We love having you here.
It is so good to be here.
Thank you for guest co-hosting this whole entire time here in Atlanta, so it's really great to have you.
Thank you, it's good to be here, and you know why I'm so happy to be here today? We have a wonderful guest. We have Tricia Thornton, who has written this book, Beyond Blessed Parenting. Yes, it is wonderful, and we're so glad to have you here with us today. Thank you for coming and joining us.
Thank you so great.
Much.
Yes, we are going to embrace several principles, 7 actually, right? And the experience authentic connection. Interestingly, when I first read your book, I was like, oh, okay, this is great connection between me and my daughter. I have a 13-year-old. I can do this, but I am so happy you're here because we're going to dive in. It's really more than that.
It is. It is so much more. It really actually, it first starts with us and connecting with God, and then within ourselves, then out with others.
And you've got a diagram that's absolutely beautiful that shows that.
Yeah, I call it the Cross of Connection framework.
Yes.
Yes.
And so it really kind of embodies that whole book all throughout. You'll hear the cross of connection. So we first connect with God at the top of the cross, and then within yourself, then with a partner or a community, a trusted friend, and then with your children. And even if you don't have children, we all can parent within ourselves.
I love that. You know, in society, it's interesting. Culture tells us a lot of it is child-driven. Like, oh, okay, my child really doesn't like this, so I'm going to adjust a little bit. And you're like, no. We lead first by getting our lead from our mighty Savior, right?
Absolutely.
And that's the Christian mentality, right? And a lot of people.
Hard to do sometimes.
It is hard. It is hard because if you're not connected to the vine, everything else is.
Right.
So tell us a little bit, because I know this is your second book. Your first book came out 2024.
2024, Blessing from Fear.
Ooh.
Is the first one.
Oh my goodness. And that was birthed out of?
Birthed really out of my own experience, my own traumas as a child. At 6 and a half, I went through 2 pretty traumatic experiences that opened that book. And then from there, fear just took hold and went into every nook and cranny of my life that I didn't really even quite grasp that. And even through seminary and lots of personal therapy and me becoming a therapist, the book kind of got birthed from all of those experiences together. And so it's a lot of me using myself as the example, and then this book is using a lot of my professional interactions. There's plenty of me in it. You don't get it without me still, and then it's more, both have parenting, both have pieces of that. There's a lot of neurological information and how our brain works and how that kind of weaves with spirituality and psychology. It's all woven in one. So it's full.
Well, I have a question. Blending the fear from your first book into this book, Beyond Blessed Parenting. Some people have children and they're fearful, as Sandra said. What do we say? What do we do? What do we not say? What do we not do? How do they, as parents, especially young parents, how do they move beyond that? I know you said they've got to connect with God, but how do they transition that into the children? Yes.
So that's where I really lean on the knowledge that God created our brains so beautifully. I get really excited to talk about the brain because I realize that the intricacies of it are so amazing.
That's right.
So how we do that is, if we are not perfection, I say often it's not about perfection but connection. If we can ground and pause within ourselves and feel a sense of connection within, then our brain will connect with our child's brain. And that will cue our child's safety. It's a big concept called co-regulation. So children regulate off of us. So I'll use you as an example. So if you were in a stressed place, hard day at work, got a hard email, whatever it was, and your daughter walks in, I mean, usually, especially at 13, she can sense when mom is
Yes,
stressed.
that's right.
I mean, mine will say, Mom, I think you need to go take a bubble bath. You know, I mean, they will say you need some help. But if again, I can show emotion, I can show anger, I can show sadness, I can show grief, confusion. But if I can be connected with them, then that will translate to her that she is okay too. And that she can hold all these big feelings and still be okay.
I think that's so wise because I think
it's easier said than done.
It is. I will tell you.
And I give a lot of how-tos on how to do that.
And I love that because it's those step-by-steps because you don't want to project what you're feeling, but they do. They grab it right away. So if you're able to, if you can self-regulate, but that is so hard. I told my daughter, I was like, listen, I am a passionate person. I said, you can read me like a book.
Feelings are on our sleeves.
But understand that I fall short every day, and we're going to get past it. But I want to get better at that point of saying, okay, you know what? I don't want to bring it here because probably at that age, everybody's here.
Yeah, everybody's here.
So it's like, wait a second.
I think parents now, more than probably when our parents were raising us. Now, there's every generation has had problems.
Right.
And they all look big at that time.
Yep.
But this generation right now that we're raising, and the younger generation, they do have a lot because they have 24/7 news that is pouring into them every single minute through media and through social media too. But there's positives. I always say I'm not a person that says throw technology out the window.
Right.
We can't. We can't throw AI out.
Right.
It's here to stay.
Right.
But we can learn how to utilize it in a positive way and empower our children to know what to do with it and not feel so overwhelmed.
Well, Sandra mentioned and made a very good point with her 13-year-old. She is a very emotional, Sandra is. Passionate.
Yes.
But how do you you don't want to hide it from them if you have a problem.
No.
But how do you calmly tell them, this is what's happening? We don't need to have fear.
Right.
But how do you communicate? Do you just stop and have prayer with your child? What do you do?
Okay, so I will teach all the affirming language script that I teach often. This is in the book as well. And in fact, I think it may be in both books, but the affirming language is when you look at your child, let's say they're having a big feeling.
Yes.
So you're having a big feeling, they're having a big feeling.
Yes.
Then you can actually model it by doing it within yourself, or you can just use this language with them. You can say, oh, wow, let's say she comes in, she's had a hard day with friends at school, which is a lot of
what's happening in the middle right now.
and so she comes in and blah, 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 blah. And you just, it's kind of active listening. You affirm, wow, I really see and hear, and those are kind of two kind of magical words, because you're filling up that first bucket, which is to be seen and heard. I see and hear that you're really having a lot of big feelings. 13, I recommend not to always name the feeling for them.
Okay.
Because think about it. If you are mad and somebody comes and says, I see and hear you're mad, you're going to be
It makes me madder.
Don't say mad. Yes. Why are you pointing it out? And so I usually will say, you're having a big feeling. And then the next line, and the most important part between these, is to pause.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Because we want to jump in and fix it. Our natural kind of fight brain, natural mammal brain, comes up and wants to redirect really fast. I'm all for redirection, but we do need to affirm first. Fill that bucket, then look at them and say, okay, I wonder if there's a way we could figure this out together. And together immediately affirms her, I'm not alone, somebody's on my team. Okay, I'm safe. I got somebody here with me doing this. And if it's a big explosion, if it's a young child having an absolute full-blown tantrum, still use the language. Then you might have to bring in, okay, well, in this house, we don't blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But if you could affirm first, then redirect, you're going to get a lot further.
I love that because there are some big feelings, and I think when you're
Big
already,
feelings.
there's so much that the kids are going through now, just with their curriculum at school, social, media, all of that, which is great. I think, if we all had to navigate that when I was 13 or younger, it was just a lot, and I love that we can provide those affirming words. I know a lot of kids also suffer from anxiety. So it's the what ifs, right?
And the what if.
And then all of a
what if
sudden,
brain.
and they just, it becomes paralyzing. Tears are coming down and they're just completely at a standstill. What do you do at that moment when they have already formed their worst case scenario and they are in that middle of that tornado?
So still affirm.
Yes.
Still acknowledge the feeling. Still name the feeling for them. Because what your hope is one day they will be able to do that within themselves. Gotcha. They will be able to name their feeling within themselves.
You're creating an
when
inner
we
voice,
name
maybe.
it kind of takes a little bit of that power away from it and helps us to not feel so out of control.
Yeah.
So help name the feeling with them. You can also use, for younger and older children, you can use emoji charts to point to the feeling because they're such visual learners.
Yes.
At 13, she's very visual. All the way up till their midbrain their brains are developed, which is mid-20s. So we're real visual. But then the next thing after you name it, see if, this brings in a whole nother concept, but is the 5 love languages. I'm a real proponent of interweaving those in.
Okay.
So let's say your child's love language is touch, which is really common. So maybe not in the middle of the tantrum, but when you say, bring in the redirection of the together language, ask. Maybe say, you know what? Do we need let's pause and have a hug right now?
Yeah.
Or how about, you know what, I would love, how about we take a break? You go to your space, I'm gonna go to my space. We're gonna both go do some deep breathing. We might go do some jumping jacks. We're gonna go dance, put on some music, whatever individually. We're gonna come back together and let's have a little snuggle time. So whatever it is, let's go for a walk.
So you would name, like, with anxiety, would you say you're having an anxiety attack? Or how
it depends on how old.
Yeah.
I would, because anxiety attack can actually lead to more.
Right.
So I would just probably gently name, wow, it seems like you're really nervous about some things. You're feeling a lot of angst.
Having a
depending
little
on
hard
the
time.
age.
Let's just take a deep breath and look at this.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And honestly, for us as parents to not be scared that they're having the meltdown. That's the kicker.
Yeah.
Because the meltdown then makes us go into this.
Yeah, like, what do you do? Like, sometimes you get
gosh.
like that paralyzed. You're just like, okay, what do you do at this point? Do you just walk away? Do you let them
And I'm
handle
all
it?
for
Do you-
walking away. If
you
your child is having a meltdown in the middle of the kitchen, I usually use the volcano example and say, wow, you're having such big feelings. You know what? I don't really want your lava to come all over me. So I'm gonna go over here. And if you have a separation anxiety issue, then I'm gonna go in this corner. You stay over here and actually turn your back. So there's a little bit of healthy separation.
Yes.
And then if they have the tools, but they may not be able to do them that moment, but they're gonna have a full-on meltdown. And that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's okay. Just let them have it out.
Yeah.
But you're over there providing the safety. And you're also indirectly communicating to your child that they're okay and they're not being left.
Right.
They're not alone.
Here for
They're
them.
not alone, yes.
Yes.
Because often they feel alone.
Yeah.
We feel alone
So
sometimes,
great.
don't we?
Oh,
When we have a
100%
little
we feel
problem.
alone.
Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
And talk to us about the tree of forgiveness. What is that all about?
Yes. Oh, I love this.
Yeah.
This came to me one day, honestly. This just kind of developed. I write when I'm at the beach. And I was looking out at this really big, beautiful tree that's right outside the window where I write. And it's one of those trees where the roots are kind of up above the ground and it's really big. It's a beautiful, big oak tree. And I was sitting there just kind of staring at it for a little bit. And I thought, okay, so that's the roots. And that, to me, is what grounds us. So it's the roots are the grace, the forgiveness, the how Christ died on the cross for us. That's the roots.
Yes.
And then when the tree grows, it births a grace-filled heart within us. And so to me, it just embodied the whole idea of the cross. So it was a little bit of the same idea of cross of connection, but just kind of using a different analogy.
Oh, I love that.
But I love that. I love that you picked out
very nice. No, well, we need to go to a quick commercial break, but we'll continue talking with you afterwards. So we'll see you shortly. Welcome back to Friends and Neighbors. We're continuing our conversation with Tricia about Beyond Blessed Parenting, embracing the 7 principles and experiencing authentic connection. I love that. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. It's been really wonderful to be able to commemorate together as moms, right?
Absolutely. It is so good to hear someone coming in with questions that we've all had at some time as a parent. And I understand that you have 2 children.
I do.
And tell us a little bit how being a parent helped you cope with these, because you didn't have these books to go by.
No, I so wish I did.
We're grateful for it now.
So tell us a little bit, because I had 3 boys and 1 girl. I didn't know if I was going to send that girl. She is adopted, and I threatened sometime to send her back, you know. But we love her.
Of course
she is a joy. Everybody needs at least one, but you had 2 daughters, right?
2 daughters. I have 2 daughters. Hey, one's a redhead.
Is that where you got the books?
I love it.
Just tell us how you coped growing up, or as your children grew up in that household.
Well, it would be funny if they had a different answer to this, but I would say that is the birth of these books.
Okay.
Because the books are a lot of what I wish I had known when I had my littles. I wish I hadn't been so caught up in performance and in the busyness and in the race. My husband and I, when I talk about the cross of connection earlier, my husband and I were struggling with this part. We were not connecting. I was doing kind of okay up here. I was probably pretty connected within, pretty connected with God. By no means perfect. There's never perfection here. This is where I struggled. I struggled because there was a lot wrapped up there. And that's when you're married, and we've been married 25 years, but early on, we were probably in our own journeys of self-discovery. We were younger, for sure, and figuring each other out and figuring out jobs and careers and busy. And so this part got a little hard. And what I did was I poured myself into my children. So all my identity, everything about me became them. I ignored this. This began to get harder as I poured more in. So the cross of connection was totally out of balance. And balance can be a tricky word.
Yes.
Because balance doesn't mean that you're not going to have a plate fall and crash on the floor. You're going to have plates go all over the place. But I do feel that from the biggest thing that I learned as a young parent was, wow, if I could have put just sprinkled in a little silence in my day, a little listening, and just pieces of these 7 principles that are in that book, maybe this would have gotten stronger. So about my girls' high school years, my husband and I entered marital therapy. And when we did, the healing really began. He started his own therapy. I was continuing mine. Writing kind of was my therapy at that time. And so I was diving into writing the first book. And I often say Blessing from Fear, which was my first book, healed my marriage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's one thing that I want everybody to know and realize out there, that we are just normal people.
Oh.
And these words are inspired to you because of the experiences that you've had
100%.
and lacked in your rearing your children.
I fully will say
but
lacked.
to grow
yes.
back in obedience with God and feeling his presence come to fruition in your family. And the family was the first institution that God created.
Absolutely.
And so he gave you direction, and now you're giving that direction to us and the ones that need to see that we're okay. It's okay to be messed up sometimes.
100%. And so my stories and my view is all obviously throughout, and then my interactions professionally with parents that I see in the trenches every day.
Yeah.
I mean, every day I have parents coming in, and the biggest emotions that I think I hear is what I had. I mean, resentment, fear, angst, and absolute exhaustion.
Yes,
forgiveness.
yes.
Forgiveness,
It's
so
so
huge,
hard.
and that's one of the 7
Yes,
principles.
yes.
In fact, funny story, so about that principle, when I would be writing, I would write the word letting go. So I just started writing forgiveness part, and I'd write letting go, and I feel like God was saying, no, Tricia, I want you to write forgiveness. And I'd have to go for a bike ride, and I'd come back, and because I handwrite my books, so I'd erase forgiveness, letting go, put forgiveness. And I'm like, no, and erase it again. I mean, it was like a battle. It was like a wrestling. I felt like Jacob. I was wrestling with God for really almost an entire day about this. And finally, that evening, with a lot of weeping, I finally was like, okay.
Forgiveness.
Okay,
I
will write it. So that is a very hard chapter.
Yes, that's why I loved just seeing that tree of forgiveness, that beauty, that
It starts with
reflection.
that.
It starts with that, and what's really incredible is that you're being transparent with all of that, because like it says in Titus, we are to speak to the younger generation, the older women into the younger generation, because you can get so focused on your children that you do start forgetting about, well, I'm not going to deal with that.
Easy.
I'm not going to deal with that. If he's not here, it's fine. I can handle it. You know what I mean?
You know, it's funny because when I have parents come in to see me, I'll often say, this is like not premarital, but marital therapy, but from a parental lens. So a lot of marital therapy is woven throughout that book.
Yes. And who does forgiveness help?
First, us. And my relationship with God.
That's right. Yes.
Because that's how it starts.
Right.
Because it puts a barrier there, because you are not letting go. Erase that word. Forgiving.
Yeah. And I was so caught up a little bit. I would find myself when I was writing that chapter getting caught up in probably codependency, but worried about how the reader would take that, because forgiveness is a massive topic.
It is, yes.
And I'm so sensitive to that. And so I wanted to have 1,000 clauses of if and God just kept saying, just write it, And
I'm so grateful you were obedient to and listening to God's word. We were talking about this. I feel like with a lot of moms, it's a season of restoration, a season of refocusing.
Yeah, I love that.
I sense it around my mom friends, and I think during the time when COVID happened, everybody was like, I need to make sure my family's okay. I'll be fine, but you go on that mode, right?
Oh, yeah.
But then things are better, and then you're like, wait, I've got to make sure that I'm connected to the vine.
Absolutely. And COVID was difficult.
Yes, because we have an only child, so that was one of the things that I was like, I've got to make sure that her mental health is fine. She doesn't have other siblings. She's around adults all the time.
And listen to that. It's that angst of a parent of,
I've got to make sure, But we have a God who provides all of that. He provides you manna for today, for that moment. So I'm so grateful for Beyond Blessed Parenting. Thank you for being obedient to God's calling in your life, so then you can bless us and the people around you. Now, how can people get connected with you?
So go to my website at triciathornton.com, and there's even right on the homepage there is a free download that you can just try out the book if you want.
Okay.
You can read the first, you got the preface and the introduction, the first couple chapters.
Awesome.
So you get a little taste of it.
I love that.
So you can go do that and find information all about it.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
being
for
with
having
us
me
today.
This has been
great.
great.
Thank you. It's been good. Don't forget Beyond Blessed Parenting. It has been great to have Tricia with us, but we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed our show today. It was so good to be here and have Tricia Thornton join us at Atlanta 57 and friends and neighbors. It's always good to be with my
Yes.
sweet sister, Sandra.
It's wonderful. You know, I'm just so grateful for people within the community that God is using to make much and just encourage the body of
Yes.
Christ and their community around us. I pray that this episode has encouraged you as a person, as a whole being, to just connect to Christ, and then everything else will come out from that overflow. We look forward to seeing you at the next episode of Friends and Neighbors.
Have a good day.